What up, Hyperchange? Welcome to another episode. Today we're talking about NFTs, non-fungible tokens blowing up on the Ethereum blockchain as this new digital way to buy and sell art and a bunch of other stuff. I know it's probably a lot confusing, overwhelming. It's this explosive new market that has popped up, has personally just totally fascinated my curiosity, which is collectibles, investing in things that are beyond just money or Bitcoin, and thinking about how do we leverage this thing called the metaverse and blockchain technology to do all of this cool stuff. And years ago it was just hype. Ethereum founded in 2015. Now it's developed and blossomed into a network where real stuff is happening. Incredible art is being created, millions upon millions of dollars being poured into the NFT space. So I wanted to make the video to show you, or just kind of explain, like, what NFTs do I buy? Like, what's the thought process behind which NFTs I buy and why? Which projects do I think are the best and have the best potential to succeed? And remember, of course, nothing's financial advice on the show. I'm just telling y'all what I think. But I wanted to explain kind of my thoughts on this. I think NFTs, non-fungible tokens, everyone's like, oh, what's the hype? It's just a picture on the internet. It's just a little PNG or whatever. Kind of, but also kind of it represents a fundamental new way to transfer digital ownership of something. And this idea is huge because it allows for the digital permissionless, basically just like Bitcoin, you could send money to someone. On Ethereum, you could send art, you could send a video, you could send a file. And so when you think about, I'm making videos, I pull B-roll into my videos. I want to use this shot. I want to use this song. Those are all digital files where ownership and royalties are all spread across these third-party centralized servers. It's kind of a mess of how it all works, who owns it, all of that stuff. So NFTs and non-fungible tokens represent a systematic technology leveraging the blockchain to be able to trade and transfer these digital files, art, assets, ownership. And really, we're gonna look back on this video that I'm making in 10 years and be like, this was such a dumb version and such a basic sliver of like you can't imagine what's gonna be created on Ethereum. You couldn't imagine what the internet was gonna become. And so we don't know what NFTs will be, what functionality they will have, but truly, you think about Ready Player One, you think about the Matrix, that's the world we're stepping into. And I think the backbone of that technology is the blockchain, and NFTs are like a key piece of ownership in that metaverse and digital world. And so when I think about NFTs, my favorite strategy is pretty much the same as investing in companies I like. I found an owner-operator founder. I want to find somebody who is a true artist or entrepreneur behind the project, who's thinking super long-term, who's putting their passion into this, who really gives a shit about it, who owns a huge invested stake in the project. They're going to make a ton of money if it blows up. They're incentivized to keep working on this for the long term. It's their life passion. Their reputation's on the line. They're thinking long-term strategically. They're not just pumping out a project to make a quick buck here. They've really been taking their time with this and are really putting their art and heart and life and soul into their project that they're launching on the blockchain. And so I think that is the way that I look at companies, the way that I look at startups, and also the way I look at investing in NFT projects. And so I'm going to tell you about my two favorite NFT projects in this video, which are my two biggest NFT investments. The first one is JOYWorld. So Joy, you saw I interviewed him on the channel, John O'Ryan Young. He's an amazing artist, started out painting, and he has really been a pioneer in the NFT space. And why I think of him and why I get so excited about him is because I think he's pushing the envelope on functionality of on-chain assets. And I actually just recorded a whole mini documentary with him that I'm going to post soon, so stay tuned for that. But he has been avant-garde in pushing the boundary for what NFTs can do on the blockchain. His files are like 3D rendering, so I'll show you right now. So these are, I have like a gazillion JOYToys. So he is basically what I would call creating, I think of it as like a painting. Like, imagine if he's creating like a painting that's also a digital VR world that you could step into. And so that is what JOYWorld is. And right now there's 129 joys are what they called, which are these one-of-one sort of statues that live in the digital world. And each one is uniquely created that he sells on the blockchain. When I started following him and I interviewed him, they were going for about $40,000 to $50,000 USD. Now the minimum you could buy one for is almost $500,000. So skyrocketing in value because they're these incredible, unique sculptures. And each one of, and along with these sculptures, he's also created a next level of sort of layer of JOYWorld that he's building called JOYToys. And that's what I own, the JOYToys, because I couldn't afford a Joy, so I bought the JOYToys. So these are the JOYToys. And as you can see how it's spinning around in the world? These are not just pictures. These are objects that can exist in VR space. And you can even click on this. This is really cool. Joy Vision. So look at that paintbrush. And I can drag it around. I can zoom it. So this is a sneak preview of the augmented reality, virtual reality future that JOYWorld is building. And so what I think is so incredible about his technology is he's building this world. So I think of it as like a hybrid of art and a video game. And he's pushing the functionality of having all these different languages of code. And you're gonna hear more about this in the interview to make his JOYToys and Joys non-obsolete depending on technology. So when the Oculus comes out, when we're in Ready Player One, you're gonna be able to interact with all of these items. There's all these secret features of bringing a JOYToy to a Joy is gonna unlock something in the world. And so this kind of combination of pushing the boundary on technology, of building this incredible unique art, of making it a game, of making it a world, to me this combination makes what JOYWorld's doing an incredibly special project on the blockchain. He's really pushing the boundary of technology for what can be put into a smart contract. He's leading the charge. He's been in this for 3 years. He's dedicated which is a long time in the Ethereum NFT space, and he's dedicated his life to building what he calls the JOYWorld. And so I just think he is an incredibly special person, a visionary artist who is building, to me, in what is technologically the most exciting thing on the Ethereum blockchain right now. And like we're just so early in the surface of his vision, but I think if he's able to create this vision, if we're able to all step into JOYWorld, all of these pieces of culture that are, manifesting in little JOYToys are going to have tremendous value because they're so limited and they're a piece of history of Ethereum, of blockchain art, and of this a part of this incredible JOYWorld that I think people may or may not want to spend time in. And so that's just me saying of like, I'm fascinated by that. I think that to me is exciting. That is more than much a picture on the blockchain. So that's a project that I just am super inspired by and I'm following closely and I love. And I think that's another kind of rule that I have. It's like you should buy, and I think of NFTs as like buying art. Like you should buy art that you love. And I still think it's interesting because they only exist in the digital world. So it's different than a painting. Like I love these paintings. They're made by my friend Kevin. Like I love them and I get to look at them every day and I like them. And that's the first reason I'm going to buy them. And so I think that's the first reason you should buy an NFT is like, because it's a piece of art that you like, and then start thinking about the functionality, its place in internet history as sort of second layers and who started the project beyond that. And so the next project that's my favorite NFT investment right now is VeeFriends, so by Gary Vee. And I love Gary Vee. You've heard me shout him out on the channel. He's an internet pioneer, investor in Facebook, Venmo, PayPal, like Snapchat, Twitter. Like he is Uber. He is a pioneer of internet culture. He's an influencer himself. He's written incredible books, and he launched what I think is the most impressive one of the most impressive NFT products along with JOYWorld, this thing called VeeFriends, which are all these little animals that he hand drew, right? So he actually drew these set of animals. I got one that's like a rare falcon, which you can see here, the Focus Falcon. And so he built these really cool NFTs. It's like a drawing of a falcon that he made. And so what's so fascinating about this falcon will actually allow me access to Gary Vee's conference. And so this is where I think Gary Vee's project is super unique. First of all, Gary is a super long-term thinker. He's put his heart and soul into this project. He's a huge collector in general of like memorabilia, sports cards, all of that stuff. So he's bit sneaker. He has his own limited edition sneakers. Like he is in the game of collectibles and all this stuff. And he took his time with this NFT project, and he thinks in decades. And so I already love that. But I think what his NFT project does, much like JOYWorld is kind of unique and a part of NFT history and pushing functionality in some ways, Gary Vee's is also pushing internet functionality and NFT functionality in other ways, in that he sold, there was like real stuff you could redeem with the NFT. So not only do I get this Focus Falcon, which is like a piece of art that Gary created that's original, that I own on the blockchain, that's like a limited edition trading card that I have, but it's also a pass to the Gary VeeCon conference, which is a NFT conference he's putting on in 2022, 2023, and 2024. So I get 3 years in a row access to this incredibly exclusive conference, which is going to be amazingly exciting, which is going to be, to me, bubbling with ideas and excitement and all these people who want and collect NFTs. And so the way he auctioned off his VeeFriends tickets and put them on the blockchain as art, as a ticket to his event, I mean, to me, this is another example of pioneering what NFTs can do, pioneering functionality. It's not just a PNG on a blockchain, it's a ticket to an event in the real world, but it's also art. Like this is scratching the surface, and this is just gonna seem so basic and rudimentary compared to what NFTs look like in 5 or 10 years. But to me, that's why this is such an exciting piece of history, because there's real functionality behind it. And beyond that, I think, this Ethereum NFT world is only gonna keep blowing up and getting crazier, and more people are gonna want to get involved. And this is one of the marquee projects in the entire space. And so I think people will want to bid, like the price, the FOMO, I think what does our generation cherish? It's events, it's experiences. To me, those are priceless. And so to have an event to have a ticket for 3 years in a row to VeeCon is incredible asset. And I could see if it keeps catching on and celebrities start bidding on it, I mean, these tickets could soar in price. It's like an exclusive concert, except even better than that, 'cause it's like business networking. And you know, Gary Vee's like always got something up his sleeve to announce about it. And so, yeah, that project just fascinates me. And I just love Gary Vee, and I think he thinks long-term. So anyway, that wraps it up. That's just my quick 2 cents and take on what NFT projects I'm most excited in, what I'm most personally invested in the most is those projects. I think NFTs are also extremely risky. I only put like money I know I could lose in NFTs. And I'm just kind of experimenting and dabbling here because this is so new. It's on the blockchain. You could lose it in a second. The value could crumble. Like, this is just so risky. So I want to just, you know, explain that. But I also think this is scratching the surface of a new way that art is going to work. You know, software is eating the world. I don't think software is eating the ownership of art. And as much as that sounds kind of niche and weird, I think the ownership of art and the ownership of creative assets is going to be an incredible unlock on the friction of society. It's getting artists paid more. I mean, just to see what JOYWorld's been able to do by selling his things, getting money from, you know, his royalties on every time they're traded, using that to fund more art. I mean, that's incredible and inspiring. I think that's a runaway effect that's going to allow him to create all of this incredible stuff. And so I love what this is doing for artists. I love how it just, I can't put my finger on it, but this NFT thing just feels so exciting and inspiring. And so if you got someone that thinks long-term, that's doing it for the right reasons, that's pushing the avant-garde technology, those are the NFT projects that fascinate me. Huge shout out to JOYWorld and Gary Vee if they're watching this, because I think what they're doing is amazing. I'm a huge fan and stoked that I own their NFTs. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. Am I crazy? How do you pick which NFTs you buy? See y'all next time. Peace.